Hello. It's Yvonne from Women's Fitness Adventures. Welcome to Monday Night Live. It is July the 8th. I'm in my warm clothes. It is quite chilly here. Today, I want to talk about something really important, and it's something that comes up over and over again with our adventurers. It's something that comes up over and over again with, I think, everybody. And it really can affect, or it can help, or it can hinder your performance and your ultimate success on the trail. And it can also map across so many other applications in our lives. So hold on tight. We've got a great session, and I'll share some personal experience from my weekend as well. So if you're watching live, you know the drill. Please go ahead and say hello where you're watching from. If you are a member, please feel free to chime in. If you're not a member, chime in as well. And if you're watching for the first time, that would be really cool to know if you're watching for the first time. I know sometimes it takes a little while to identify yourself, but rest assured you're in pleasant company. We don't know who you are until you say hello, and then all we see is your name and what you say. So welcome. So today, as I said, I'm going to talk about the number one thing that is the difference between can make or break our performance and success on the trail, and that is our mindset. And I've spoken about this quite a lot in the past, but I'm going to take it from a personal approach today with you. And perhaps you can relate and you think, oh, well, if that happens to Yvonne, that can happen. I don't feel, so strange that it's happening to me as well. And hello, Patricia, hot off the mark. So one of the things, well, there's a couple of things really that we can do. And so for our members, you may know that I'm training for the Berlin Marathon in September. There you go. If you haven't heard it before, I've put it out there. Now, that is the number one thing that we all should do, because now we're accountable. We're accountable to a whole lot of people. And I know it's the same with hiking. When we teach our course, and we talk to our members, is that you should share it and you should shout about it, because letting other people know your excitement also lets other people know that they can talk to you and ask you about how your training is going. So that's a really important thing to do. So as part of that training program, or as part of getting ready for the run, I want to be successful. And there's a question we ask ourselves: what does success look like? For me, finishing be my second marathon in 10 years, is finishing in one piece, so that I can, go about my daily life. Maybe not the next day. I've got a couple of days holiday planned. But I'm still there, prepared to step into the next stage of whatever the next week's offer for me. So that's what success looks like for me. It's not about time. It's not about coming first. And we can map this over to our adventures as well, because all too often, and this is where my personal experience comes in, on Friday night, I ran a half marathon on the weekend, and on Friday night, it was the Gold Coast Festival. We were down there. It was cold. It was wet. It was windy on the Saturday, and Friday night when I went to bed early because I had to get up at 4 to get up to catch the tram to get there. Like, all these logistics are going in my head, and I went to bed about 9 o'clock. And this is the same for every man, woman, child. Well, probably not children. They're probably not at that point where they start questioning themselves. I was trying to go to sleep, and then all the thoughts started running through my head is, well, should I actually be doing this? What if I hurt myself? What if I can't make it? What if I don't get my time that I want, and then am I a failure? But see, I didn't really have a time. Like, I had a time, I had this debate: do I train for time, or do I just use it as part of my training plan because next week I have to run further distance? But what if I don't get my time? Am I a failure? But a failure compared to who? What if everyone passes me? But who are those people anyway? I don't even know them. So why am I comparing myself to them? But what if I injure myself? And this just kept going on and on and on. And I fell asleep from about 10, I think, till 1. And then I woke up again, went back to sleep, woke up again, and then it was time to get up. And I thought, oh, well, it's too late now to keep worrying about things. So I then headed we got up, I had my breakfast, I made sure I was fueled properly, and then all the worries started coming in of what if I need to go to the toilet? Well, how am I going to go to the toilet? Can I go to the toilet before I go? What if I have to use one of those portaloos? So all of these things that were going through my head are things that go through all of our heads when it comes to our hiking adventures, male or female. And the point of sharing this story is to know that those thoughts are not unique to you. So if you do have those thoughts about, should I book onto a hiking holiday? Should I do that hike with friends? Should I do this? Should I do that? What if I'm not good enough? What if I'm not fit enough? What if I'm not fast enough? All of those thoughts are really, really common. And we all think them. So guaranteed everyone in that event, even the elite people, would have been thinking exactly the same thing. Now, hello, Carolyn, hello, Kerry, and hello, Margaret. Margaret seems to be the only sunny one today. And hello, Sandra as well. So those thoughts are really, really common to everyone. But then we get to the start line and there's 10,000 people lined up for the fun run. And I guarantee, even those elites, those people that could do, 21.1 kilometers in, what was the fastest time? Like it was an hour 10. I don't think I even drive that fast. Would be thinking in their head, and probably more pressure because they are elite and that's their profession, is what if I can't go fast enough? What if I don't get my first or second or third place? So, it doesn't matter who we are. We still seem to somehow think that the what if scenarios and the comparison to other people are how we measure our success and our performance on, for me, the run, but for others on the trail as well. And when I'm there on the start line, it was pouring with rain. Our feet were wet before we started. It was cold. It was windy. It was still dark at that stage. Thinking, what on earth am I doing here? And then you get into that starting chute, and the atmosphere, and it's exactly the same thing as hikes. And I've had the absolute pleasure, none of you have seen it yet, of seeing our Great Ocean Road first video that we filmed. And one of the comments in that was, when you get there, it all just melts away. All those things that we worried about just melt away, and you realize that you're there for you. And I looked at, not the 10,000 people because there were too many to look at. I looked at everybody around me and thought, why am I comparing myself to that person? Because I don't know anything about their life. I don't know anything about their training plan, their goals, their ambitions, where they've come from, what they're doing next, how they train, what they do. So why am I comparing myself to them? And then why am I so thinking so much about, what if I don't get the time I want? Or what if we can't always have a personal best. What if I aren't as successful as I think I should be? And then I thought, well, why are you worried about that as well? And as soon as I started questioning myself about that, um, all that angst, that weight just lifted straight off my shoulders, and I could focus on enjoying enjoying the run for what it was. And once I got into the rhythm and the flow, this rhythm and ease that I talk about all the time, just rhythm and ease, rhythm and ease. But did things go to plan? No, things didn't go to plan. And this is where having this adventurous mind and adventurous spirit is. So I was running along, and it was 2 kilometers. This is really good. We had a tailwind, so that was super helpful. And then I thought, gee, the kilometer 3 is a long way away. And then I saw the sign and it said it was kilometer 6. And then some of you know, sharing this live on here, which forever is on YouTube as well, at about, some of you know, I've been dealing with some food issues, and I'm sharing this because I know that to those of you watching, that this is really important. It's really important when you're considering going on a hike or going on a multi-day hike, and going with people that you don't know as well. And I'm saying this so that my story can relate to yours, and yours might be able to relate to mine. And if it's a little bit personal, I apologize in advance, but it really is to let you know and assure you that we are all very similar. We all think the same things. So some of you know, for the past couple of years, I've been dealing with some gut issues. And so this thing beforehand, do I need to go to the toilet? Where are the toilets? I don't want to go in the portaloos, all that sort of stuff. But hydration, just like on the trail, is really, really important. So the run is 21.1 kilometers. So at about kilometer 9, thought, I need to go to the toilet. But there were no toilets. And then I went, okay. So at about kilometre 13, I thought I really need to go to the toilet. And then there were two portable toilets there, but a big long line. And I went, well, by the time I wait in the line, I could have run another couple of kilometers. So when I saw the photos of my face running those last couple of kilometers, it wasn't a pretty look on my face. But by the time I got to kilometre 18, and that was my biggest fear, is could I actually make it through the run without going to the bathroom? And I say this not to give you my bathroom habits, but because I know that this is a really big deal for a lot of women who won't go on hikes because of the bathroom. They have this fear of, I'm either not going to drink enough water because I don't want to go to the bathroom in the bush, or I'm not going to drink enough. I don't want to have that coffee because what if I have to do number two? So going for a hike is not on people's radar simply because of the toileting. So I'm sharing that this happens to all of us. So anyway, got to kilometre 18. I thought I'm literally going to have to pull out of the race. And then I saw this beautiful council toilet block and ran into there, ran out again, and back on to the path. So I was within my guidelines of what I thought I wanted to do for the race. I run. I did my adequate fueling that I needed to do through the race. My body felt fine, and mentally I felt fine, other than this conversation that I had in my head the whole time about going to the bathroom. So otherwise, mentally I was fine. I was in the race and I ran to the tune of my body. So we had the tailwind going out. Then we had to turn around, and then we had the headwind and the rain coming back. So that was pretty hard slog heading back into that. You couldn't run with the hat on. You literally had to take your hat off or it would blow off. And that was the last five kilometers. You had the running into the wind, and then you come down the long chute to the finish line, which couldn't come soon enough. But all of those, so I ran to my fueling plan. So this is where I talk about the Goldilocks plan. This is where I talk about not leaving our training in hiking to that hot chili pepper burn your butt off the last couple of weeks plan. And we were talking about that this morning at hiking as well. Is that having allowed enough time and space in my life, and I am getting towards the hot chili burn my butt off, big run is only a couple of months away, making sure that I take every opportunity to do the training, but every opportunity to follow my plan, exactly my plan, which is long, slow runs and being on my feet as much as possible, not trying to break world records, which I can't anyway, but not trying to outrun, outwit, outlast, sounds like Survivor, anyone else. Just follow the plan as it's designed for me, and follow the fueling as it's designed for me. Don't try and use this as any diet thing or anything like that. And then follow the mindset of, if you put in the training, if you put in the work, then things will, people often say to you, good luck in the run tomorrow. It's like, well, it's not luck, because I've put in the effort, and it will be what it will be, but I've put in the hard work, I've put in the effort, I've done my very best, and then that's where the results are. It's do your very best on the day if you've put in the work. But if you can hope, if you haven't put in the work, that you can hope that it's all okay. And I share that because the principles of my run on the weekend are the exact same principles of what we need to apply to our hiking and this hiking mindset, and I guess any mindset that we have. So everyone's been pretty quiet in the chat. If this is resonating with you, if you like my story, if you hate my story, if you think I've overshared, please tell me as well. But I say this to assure you that, no matter what our pursuits are, we all have these similar patterns in our head. And one of the things that many years ago when I first started running is I love my running group, but I would show up to our speed session, which is the fast session, and the coach would give the instructions and I would groan. And after a couple of months, I thought, I am wasting so much energy complaining about the training plan that if I just did it, then that energy would go to good use, and that was a game changer. I used to worry about being last at the speed sessions because some people in my running group are very fast. So if I didn't show up to those speed sessions, I would never have to be the last because I had nothing to I couldn't be compared to anyone who was faster than me. And I know that when we do our hike training, and if we train with the same people all the time, it's like the tennis players. If Federer trained with people that were, well, let's not use Federer. If people trained against Federer, they would get better. But if they trained with their same training partners all the time, they probably wouldn't improve as much as if they played with someone much better than them. And it's the same with hiking. Um, if you train with people that have more skills and train with people that are perhaps a little bit stronger than you on hills, or have more skill on the downhill, or faster than you on the flat, then you will ultimately improve your hiking in terms of speed, your endurance, your cardio, all of that. So that's a lesson for us all to learn as well, is that we can't, or we shouldn't hide from the fact that people have more skill or more speed or more endurance than us, in my case running, but in the world of women's fitness adventures in the hiking space, because those people we can learn from, we can measure our progress against other people. What are they doing that I might need to adopt? What are they not doing that I could probably let go of? But we have this fear of comparison, where, oh, I won't go to the training because then I'll be measured against other people. If I can't keep up, I'll feel like I'm, not in the space I should be. Where we need to flip that on its head, and see that as a learning opportunity to challenge ourselves to move forward, because we can get very stuck in our ways. And when we are, go on a trail for the first time, and I know Carolyn's watching, and we were just in beautiful, beautiful Crete. There's lots and lots of rocks in Crete, and we could train here in Australia for endurance, we could train for cardio, we could train for hills going up, and we could train going down. What we couldn't train for is mountains with scree on them. We couldn't train for our Saluda balcony day, which was fabulous, where it was rocky and switchbacks all the way up, because we just don't have that in our hiking capacity. But what we can do is we can train for all the other things and then transfer those skills over. So let me check in with who has arrived. Let's see who has arrived since. So we've got Marianne from Canberra. That would be quite chilly. Jelena from Toowoomba, which would be quite chilly. It's a hot, chilly day. Ellen from Talgano, chilly. Marie in Lamington, chilly. Karen from Claremont's probably quite warm. Carolyn says, I started my training plan today for my next adventure. We're off to Corsica in a couple of weeks, so I can enjoy it. We're not into the red hot chili option. Absolutely. And, it does allow for those bumps in the road. And even last week, as I was preparing for the run, I knew last week I would have to hydrate and I would have to fuel properly. And life last week and this week, you've probably seen what's going on in the background with us, hasn't quite gone to plan. So I was going in a little probably not fueled enough. But that was okay, because I hadn't left that whole concept of getting ready, of preparing, of everything until that last week. I've been training for this, for a long, long time, and building up slowly to remain injury free, which is another reason why we don't want the red hot chili pepper plan. We want the Goldilocks training plan. Hello, Nicole. Lovely to have you here. Hello, Kim from Mackay. So Kim, you're heading to Corsica with us as well. So hopefully your training plan is well underway. Margaret says she always checks out where the toilets are. Often think when I go out, it's all very well to go in the bush, but not acceptable on urban tracks, which is so true. And take your toilet pack all the time. Yeah. And, if we're going to be hikers and call ourselves hikers, then, doing the not drinking water, not eating food so that we don't have to go to the toilet is not really a good option. It's actually a really unsafe option to do. So just getting comfortable, and I've got this other project that I'm working on, and one of the questions is, and they're not hikers, is how do you actually go to the toilet in the bush? And so our members know we have a masterclass on that. But these are all new skills that are happily transferred as well. But talking about it actually makes others comfortable. Ellen says, it is a great story, Yvonne. Thank you. I can totally relate to being distracted by something like needing to go to the toilet when doing some task or activity. In situations like that, the training you did before the event meant that you could think about your situation and come up with a solution while still running the race. Multitasking during the task was possible because you trained beforehand. Absolutely, absolutely. It's all of those things that we do before that it's like when we do our hike training, we say, don't try something new on the hike. Try something new in the training. So, I do now know I need a new pair of shoes, but I will have to get those and not quite yet and train into those shoes. But I wouldn't do that on day one for race day, and I wouldn't recommend anyone does that on day one of hike day. It's also like if you take gels or chews for hydration and then for a little bit of energy, is when you're out hiking on a trail and it's not a training day, you probably wouldn't take that unless there was no other alternative, because you don't know how your stomach would react to it, or whether there's something in there that you react in another way to it. So all of these things that we do in our training not only physically prepares our body, but it mentally prepares us as well. But then it becomes the art of comparison too. And one of the things that gets asked every single time, and when we have new adventurers come with us that haven't done a multi-day hike with us before, and I received a beautiful quote today, actually, that haven't done a hike with us before. The biggest fear, even when I do surveys, is that I will be last and I will be holding other people up. And so that was going through my head in the run as well, is that I will be last, which was not even a reality. That wasn't going to happen because there were people walking. So, I don't even know why that entered my head, but it shows you how irrational we can be when we have this emotional response to something where we think we're being put in a position of vulnerability and a position of failure as well. So we did receive this beautiful quote today, though. So for people who haven't been on an adventure with us, and I know there's a couple of Couch to Mountainers watching as well, is that this person was on an adventure with us this year, and she said it was her first, and she said it was such a beautiful experience because those who, on different days, different people walk faster and slower, and those who were slower on that day didn't even notice because the group slowed down so that we all, without any fuss, so that we all seemed to walk together, and then by that point everyone was able to speed up again. So it was a really nice observation from someone who was first time that there was no singling out, there was no pointing, there was, it would never be pointing anyway, but no singling out or no distance, visible gap of, oh, I'm getting slower, I'm getting further and further behind. So hello, Christine from Tamworth. Hello, Karen, you did make it, and I did send you that in the Facebook group and an email with that today. So thank you for pointing that out to me. Carolyn says she's also improving her cardio so I can do better on the hills and heat. And we were talking today about heat and hiking in the heat. And, in Australia, it's potluck what weather you get, unless you're in Tasmania at the moment. Where you probably have a few more seasons. But training in the heat is something that we can adjust to. But everything is, just do this Goldilocks plan. This, don't go out in the middle of the day. All of those things that we do, just, ever so gently ease yourself into things if you haven't, hiked in the heat before. It's not all in or nothing. It's just training ourselves to get used to that environment, because there's some beautiful environments that we go to. The girls next week, we're heading out to Outback, and then we've got a team heading up to the Northern Territory to do the beautiful Jatbula Trail and do it before they build those huts on there. And it will be warm for them, but they have been training. They've been training in summer as well, and it really makes a difference to how they're going to respond on the trail when something unexpected, and it will, comes their way. Patricia says, unfortunately, I do compare myself to others, but I am listening and I'm working on that. And look, comparison is something that we all do. We cannot not do it. And in some ways, it might be a good thing, as in, I guess if we compare ourselves to ourselves, and I think I said last week, I'm not sure if you were here, Patricia, that the only two people that should be proud of you are your 8-year-old self and your 80-year-old self. Are you the person that you envisaged yourself to be, and then when you look backwards, were you the person that you wanted to be? So comparing ourselves to ourselves, are we the same hiker that we were yesterday? Are we the same runner that we were, for me, yesterday? No, I'm not. I'm a little bit wiser. Maybe 42 is looking like a long way away though for me. So I I really hope, and hello, Karen, that everyone's been able to gain something from my story tonight, to reassure you that, these thoughts that we have in our head of should I even be doing this? Why have I signed up for this? At those last minute things are really normal, really common things. And it's probably some nervousness, it's probably some anxiety, it might be doing something for the first time or something that we're coming back to that we haven't, and we're not familiar with it. We can't, if we were experts at something, we probably wouldn't worry. We'd probably get a little bit more complacent about it. But when we have that little bit of nervousness and anxiety, it means that it matters to us. But I also think that it's important to surround yourself with people that not comparing, but you have, as I said before, just have that little bit more of experience or a little bit more pace or, a little bit more skills so that we can look at that and as a learning opportunity and think, I actually need to improve my pace, or I need to broaden my skills when I hike downhill, or I need to learn how to really activate my glutes when I walk uphill, or I need to learn how to get lower in my squats or have more ankle mobility in the trail fit training classes so that I can, really step over those logs and reach to the tippy toes, or, get more flexibility in my hips so I can reach up to those higher steps and things like that. And hello, Sonia, and hello, Joe. So that's my tale. That's my tale from the weekend, that no matter who it is, males or females, generally, anywhere from, I'd say, about 10 onwards, is this question of, should I, all the what ifs will creep in, and they'll creep in the darkest of hours. And, you can work yourself up into quite a frenzy and think, I'm out, I'm not doing it. Thanks, Colette. I'll share that in a moment. We can work ourselves up into a frenzy, or we can, just start to break it down and analyze it. And Colette's put a most perfect timely quote in here, and she says, hello, anxiety and excitement have the same physiological symptoms, so a lot of the way to deal with anxiety is to think of it as exciting instead. And that is so perfect, little segue there, Colette. So thank you very much for that very timely comment. So it is a great way to think about it. And the next time we might be thinking anxious of, should I go on that hike, or should I do this, or should I show up to the group training, or should I hike with a different group of people, then instead of getting anxious, go excited. What can I learn from these people? What can I learn about myself? What skills can I improve on? What do I need to know? What can I gather from this so that I can become, a better version of myself for the next time? And hello, Susan from Newcastle. So that is all I wanted to share, which is quite a lot. And if you just chimed in, then go back and listen. And if you think I've overshared, then just switch off for that bit. So thank you for tuning in. This week we've got a lot of stuff going on for our members. If you're having any trouble with the site, hopefully it's back up and running. Then just tag us in Facebook or email the office. There's always ways around things. But I think it's pretty good to go at the moment. So thank you for tuning in. I will see some of you. We have Cardio Boost tomorrow afternoon. We have our Trail Fit training on Thursday as well. So looking forward to that. And for Brisbane people, there is a hiking session on Sunday. If you want to come to that with me, there's still a few spots available there. So thank you, everyone. I love your comments. And if you think of any further things or would like to share your experience with doing something for the first time or the what ifs, then please go and comment below, because I do know that all the comments in here and comments that I get onto my page is that when women help women, it really helps us know that we're not alone, and that the thoughts are all the same, and that we're all unknowingly inspiring, and that it might just prompt another woman to take that road on adventure. So thank you very much. And next week I'm on the Outback trip, but I'm in Roma, so there's Wi-Fi. So I will come to you with, hopefully, there's a few of you on here, hopefully a few of you behind me for Monday Night Live next week. So thanks for tuning in, and I'll catch you then. Bye.